back to this painting. Painting a day keeps the doctor away, and for me it does actually. If when I'm not painting, I am dying. I'm literally just giving up the ghost and letting myself wither into nothingness, which I do that quite often, and that's why I need the book, the Secret Garden and the Artist's Way, to keep reminding me you can't freeze and die up. You got to keep going. So anyway, so if you look here, you see the lemon yellow, which is a greenish yellow, and the cadmium yellow medium, which is an orangish yellow. I have not painted the center yet because I didn't want it all to go crazy. Theoretically, you should paint from dark back to front. So I need to, although I drew it from front to back to know where I'm going with it, to lay down my outline, I'm going to go ahead and develop these leaves a little bit. And for that, let me see what I'm going to use a color. I'm going to use leaf, let me see, this is a Da Vinci paint. It's leaf green. It's like a lime green, because what you're going to see, and in fact, I had to put these side by side. I've said this over and over again. I don't like my colors to get messed up, so I use these little cheap trays. But there's lemon yellow, there's leaf green. Now then, I don't know that I have the phthalo green. Okay, let me say this over and over again. I've just started painting again, and I was not going to spend the trillions of dollars to buy more paint until I knew what I was doing. So I have this, which is also about a fortune, Schmick half pans, or I think these are quarter pans. And I'm sure that there's a phthalo green and a phthalo blue in here, and that's what I'll use. And the Schmick color is, they have the same kind of color. I think that's permanent green. Let me see. I think at one time, this is aquarelle. I don't know, it's oh, that's olive green. That's not it. Although it will get olivey, that's not where I want to start. But I can't remember what the name of that color is. I'll look it up. So Schmidt, Da Vinci's not the only one who makes a limeish green, but I use Da Vinci paints just because I do. That's what I started using 1,000 years ago, and I don't want to. I know where I'm going with that. So anyway, let's go from back to front. So what do we have here? And if this is dry enough. Actually, there's a little wet spot, and I'll say that, let's have a fundraiser so I can get me a studio, a GoFundMe page, so Jackie can get a bigger studio and not have to fight her space, her being confined by tight spaces. So anyway, what I'm going to do, is I'm going to try to make a space here. I'm going to run over here, and there's a dry tip, a wet tip right there. There's another wet tip here, a little dropple. If I had lifted this up a while ago, in fact, it would still do that. Run down the page. I don't want that. If I want it to run, I will tip it. If I don't want it to run, I don't tip it. So let's just hope I can even hit this with a dryer and not make it run. So I'm going to be ready, prepared, just in case. But anyway, so let me say this again. Don't go on until every part of this initial layer is dry. If you do, while there's a wet drip like that, it will bloom and blossom and not into a flower. Well, it is a flower, but it's more like a weed than a flower. It's just an ugly spot that is there for the rest of your life. So I'm not going to go on until I am completely dry. And this has been drying naturally in the air for at least 30 minutes. But let's see. Okay, it's dry. When it's dry to your touch, it's dry. And in fact, if it feels moist, guess what? It's moist. Too early. So, anyway, so what we're going to do, I'm going to start with the area. No, I think I'm going to do just the opposite. I'm going to paint. Okay, look here. See this? That's a petal that's reaching over the center, into the center. So what I'm going to do is, behind the center is behind this petal. So I'm going to spend just a second, because I'm going to have to clean my brush after I paint with orange, before I can go into green, in my brush and my water. So while I have this going, I'm going to go ahead and just paint, and go fund me. All right, now, I'm a colorist, so everything, I don't paint every color the way you see it. I paint the color the way I feel it. It's based in some reality somewhere along the way, but I don't feel the need to be a parrot or a camera. I'll never make it, so I'm not worried about that. So in the center, which I love the dark sunflowers with the black faces, I love to paint those. I love that night and dark. But this one doesn't have that, so I'm not sure that I'm going to continue to observe. It starts. The very center is a yellowish color, almost a greenish, but I don't want to mix my greens here. So I'm going to put a lighter yellow right in the center. And if it starts moving too far, too close for comfort, then get out your paper, your Q-tips and dry it. And then I'm going to go around right here with orange. And again, I'm gonna kind of draw. That's why I use this brush. It allows me to draw. So on the color wheel, I'm going from yellow toward the oranges. Do you see how I've shaded? No black, no brown, no gray, no anything. But I have moved from a lighter yellow to a darker yellow through color and not through the addition of black, brown, gray, or any other color. So anyway, I'm going to stop right here in just a second. Okay, there we go. I don't want any hard edges yet, which is beginning to do that. Okay, now, it's real bore, it's a real drag, and it is for me because I'm the most impulsive person in the world, but I'm going to have to let this dry again before I go on to something else. Otherwise, you're going to live with your mistakes. Mistakes. Oh, well, mistakes. Something, if you can avoid them, do. So I can tell you, do what I say do. Don't move forward yet. I'm not going to pick this up. I'll pick it up before I start with the next step so that you can see kind of what I've done so far. But anyway, I've added orange. I'm beginning to darken this. I said this earlier. Michelangelo said that painting is color drawing, and it really is for me. I draw. My paintings are drawings, and except my oil paintings, they're more heavy. In fact, I'll show you a sunflower that I painted with oil in just a second, and show you one that I painted with watercolor, and show you the difference. But these are drawings. Okay, so let me go do something else. In fact, I'm working on creating a larger space. So let me go and let this dry.